Welcome back, Geordies. Happy New Year to all of the Toon Army out there. We're going to kick off 2026 with some positivity and excitement based around the January transfer window. In today's video, I'm going to be going through players who've been linked with moves to Newcastle in January. There's a fair few to get through, so let's get into it. I'll go through this as quickly as possible, give you the facts, and then I'll give you my opinion afterwards. So to kick us off, James Trafford, the English under-23 goalkeeper from Man City. Reports are he's available for around £45 million if the reports are to be believed. The wage he's on is currently £50,000 a week, and it's believed that he is unhappy since Gianluigi Donnarumma was signed, and it's probably pushed his position down to third string keeper. It's also reported that Man City are interested in signing another goalkeeper, which may push him further down the pecking order. The only thing I'll say on this one is, while I don't feel it's the right timing, it wouldn't surprise me if Newcastle tried to pull the trigger for him. There was definite interest in the summer, and I could see this one happening either now or in the summer. Secondly, the next one, another Man City goalkeeper, Stefan Ortega, the Spanish 33-year-old of Man City. Reports are that he's available for around £5 to £10 million. He's currently on a wage of £90,000 a week. He's contracted till 2026, so he only has 6 months left to run on his contract. Now, while I feel probably the age profile is what lets him down, he is a step up from any goalie we currently have. And I do believe he is currently a step up from James Trafford. The only thing with this is he does have links to Germany. There are other clubs interested. He's a solid backup for Man City and probably would be a good starter for Newcastle. Third up, we have Gregor Kobel. The Swiss 28-year-old currently plays for Dortmund. Reports are that Dortmund would be willing to accept £55 million. He's on a wage of £140,000 a week. The thing with Kobel is he does have a long contract and he's currently happy to stay at Dortmund. But Dortmund would be open to selling him if the valuation was met. Now, Gregor Kobel would be my top priority for goalkeeper. I think he is at prime age, 28 years old. He's got Champions League experience. He's a fantastic goalie with both his feet and as a shot stopper. I think he is kind of the prime keeper to take us to the next level. Now, £55 million is a lot of money to outlay on a goalkeeper that's 28 years old. And it wouldn't surprise me if Newcastle offered 55 million and they said they wanted 60. So it wouldn't surprise me if this one didn't come off, but a fantastic keeper nonetheless. So moving on to defenders, we have Jaden Oosterwolde. He is a Dutch 24-year-old left back and centre back. He's currently playing at Fenerbahce. Reports are that he's available for around 20 million. There are heavy links to Newcastle with this one, supposedly. He's on a wage of around £30,000 a week. He has a contract until 2028, so only 2 years left on his contract. This one may well be a good backup. He's a very physical player, looks very strong, well established at the age of 24. He's probably just starting to come into his prime years. It wouldn't surprise me if this was the sort of transfer Newcastle would go for, purely that he can play left back and centre back. He's in the right price region and the wages are good. So I'd keep an eye on this one. This may develop over the next few weeks. It wouldn't surprise me if there are other clubs interested in him. He looks like a really exciting young player. And then the only other player we have linked in the defensive positions that might be a little bit out of our reach is Nathan Ake. The Dutch 30-year-old of Man City plays left back and centre back. Reports that he's available for around £20 million. He has a wage of £160,000 a week. He's contracted till 2027, and it appears that Man City are looking to regenerate that back line and may want to move him on. Now, Nathan Ake, I think we all know enough about Nathan Ake, a top quality defender for both Holland and for Man City. He would definitely be a step up in our defence. It's just whether we can afford to outlay around the £160,000 a week mark and whether we'd be willing to pull the trigger in January. He is linked with a lot of clubs. There is a lot of interest around Nathan Ake, and I think you would have to get him very quickly to get a deal done here. So moving on to the midfielders, and there are some bizarre shouts for players being linked with us with regarding to midfielders. But to kick us off, Ruben Neves. We all know Ruben Neves from his time at Wolves, but the Portuguese 28-year-old currently playing for Al Hilal, the defensive midfielder is reportedly available for as little as £15 million. He's on a wage of £320,000 a week at Al Hilal. No surprise there being in the Saudi League. But his contract runs out in 2026. So he is available to negotiate as a free as of January the 1st. The interesting thing is he is also linked to Man United, although Man United are reportedly not as keen on signing a player over the age of 25. Next up we have Conor Gallagher, the English 25-year-old currently playing for Atletico Madrid, or otherwise known as Atleti. Reports are that he's available for £25 to £30 million. He's currently on a wage of £150,000 a week. He's contracted till 2029, so 3 years left on his contract. And once again, Manchester United are also linked, but they would like to loan him from January till the end of the season. And Atletico Madrid want cash up front for a permanent deal. This would not surprise me if this was a player that we actually went in for. I think Conor Gallagher was linked with us in the summer and maybe previously in the last January transfer window. I'm not entirely sure whether I like the idea of this transfer, but if there's one thing he does do is stick a tackle in and he puts in effort. He's not really the creative midfielder that I think we probably should be looking for, but he's definitely up there as a replacement should we look to move Joel Linton on. Now, next up we have David Fratesi, the Italian 26-year-old centre midfielder from Inter Milan, is reportedly available for around £25 to £30 million, and he's on a wage of £85,000. He's contracted till 2028, 2 years left. He is currently out of favour at Inter Milan, but Napoli are also interested. Now, I think this is a really interesting shout because Fratesi he's a kind of player that can play any position in the midfield. He can play as a defensive midfielder. He can play as a centre midfielder. But the real key with him is his ability to sit as a 10. And he's kind of in the mould of a cheap Frank Lampard. That sounds awful, but he arrives late in the box. He's got a good finish. He's very spatially aware and he's a very creative player. At 26 years old and for £25 to £30 million, I think he could be a really good signing and a very outside shout for the rest of the Premier League to even be aware that he's available. Next up, we have Daryl Barcola. Now, Daryl Barcola, just to clarify, is French-Congolese of Marseille. He's 18 years old, so not the Barcola that plays for Paris Saint-Germain. He is a centre midfielder. He's reportedly available for 10 to 15 million. He's on a wage of around £4,000 a week and is contracted till 2027. He has Wonder Kid status and his price may be deceiving. The reason I've put this note in there is because very much the same as Keith Smith, these both look like very promising youngsters. But it wouldn't surprise me after hearing that Keith Smith has had offers made around the 50 million to 60 million euros mark turned down, that he may not be available and Daryl Barcola's price may well be a lot higher than the 10 to 15 million pounds that's being quoted. So moving on to the forwards, we only have two. So Ryan Vitor, the Brazilian 19-year-old midfield forward who plays currently in Brazil for Vasco da Gama. Reports are that he's available for around 20 million, but he currently has a release clause of 40 million pounds. His wage is around £6,000 per week, and unfortunately his contract length is unknown due to him being part of the Vasco da Gama youth. He is considered to be a wonder kid and a very high profile prospect for Vasco da Gama. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if this release clause of 40 million is in there just to make sure Vasco da Gama get a reasonable price tag and have the opportunity to turn it down without unsettling the player. Very much in the same kind of mould as Esteval, who's just signed for Chelsea in the summer. He looks like an exciting talent, a bit of a rough diamond, and I would say probably quite a large gamble if Newcastle were to even look at this kind of signing. And then finally, last up, we have another Man City player, Oscar Bob, the Norwegian 22-year-old left winger or right winger. He kind of can play across the whole of the front line of Man City. Reports are that he's available for around £30 million. He's currently on a wage of £50,000 a week and is contracted to Man City until 2029. So they've got a good contract length on him. 3 years left, but he's been heavily linked to Borussia Dortmund. And if I'm being honest, I could see there'll be a lot of clubs linked to Oscar Bob. I think he's an exciting young talent. I think he's got a very high ceiling. He looks like a very promising youngster. And there aren't many players that leave Man City and go on to get worse. So I think he's an exciting talent. I think he might be out of our reach. It depends how fast Newcastle are willing to pull the trigger and how much intent they're willing to go with. But from this list, let me know in the comments if there's any of those players that you think Newcastle should be straight in for. Do you think Newcastle will play this transfer window in the same way as we did in the summer? Do you think we will lowball offer until other teams are aware who we're going for and it will become a bidding war? Or do you think Newcastle will come in with Ross Wilson and probably act a little bit more professionally and try and feel out the clubs to make sure we hit the right valuation before we put an offer in and before we make the market aware of what transfer dealings we're doing? Either way, guys, if you've liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you to everyone for getting involved in the comments and for all the shares. And hopefully, guys, I will see you in the next one.